Thank you so much. We're going to talk about a vision for product management going forward and use some stories about what we've gone through as an organization at Pendo, but also our customers in forming this opinion about what the future looks like for us. I think for many people, January 2023 went a little bit like this, where we entered into the year with great vision of what we're going to build, the problems that we're going to solve. We were inspiring our sales team, only to see ChatGPT come out and realize we have to change it up. For me, it was a very visceral moment. I had just gotten off the stage in front of the entire company talking about what are we doing this year? What are we going to launch at Pendomonium? And after I came to the back, one of the co-founders, Raul Jain, grabbed me and said, "That was awesome. We are in such great shape, and we've got to throw it all away. We got to start over into this." And that transformation from this moment to this moment was not just about learning more about our customers and the technology, but also digging into our craft. There are a lot of things that remain the same, and there are some things that are changing. And being able to define that was really key for us in what we were doing, because AI is not going to go away. It's really transformational. The world's largest and most innovative companies are transforming right in front of our eyes. I got it right before I came on stage. I looked at the market cap of Microsoft. It's now $3.3 trillion US. And Box just crossed $1 billion in revenue. And both CEOs credit AI for accelerating their path to that point. So this is transforming some of the world's largest companies, but it's not limited to just there. Y Combinator is a seed fund in Silicon Valley. In April of 2024, this year, they graduated 86 companies focused in AI. That's double the amount from the year before. So in every single layer, massive enterprise companies, the smallest startups, every industry, AI is taking root and hold. And so we as a product team, as product leaders, need to actually embrace this and change with this. And the challenge in front of us is nothing that we're held accountable for today is going away. We still have to reduce churn and either go up market or go down market or become a platform. We're looking at expanding globally. Like, all of these are here for us. So what is happening is, to be a great PM is changing. We're not getting rid of a lot of those items. We're adding to it. And in order to add to that, we've got to figure out how to create the capacity to add to it, to take on new responsibilities, new accountabilities. We've got to have new measures for that. So we've got to look at those things that we're doing manually today and start replacing them. Not because they're not important, but we need our capacity back. So manually triaging or trying to connect with hundreds and thousands of users on an individual way, that eats up so much time for our product operations team, our research team, our product teams. Looking at summaries and PRDs and how we generate it, how can we find time back in that activity? And the measures of what's important for us, right? It's no longer about shipping individual features. How much can we get out? More, more, more. It's about shipping outcomes, trying to create outcomes for our customers, for our own organizations. This transformation's massive. It's not about the features we ship, it's the outcomes we create. And we've got to be able to create the capacity in order to do this. So there's 3 areas for us as we look at this transformation for product managers that we think is key. One is getting to know our users at scale. 2, how do we leverage AI to drive value, to drive outcomes? And finally, now more than ever, prioritization and speed and agility. I mean, honestly, watching all the content today, I was like, wow, I'm going to get up and present the best of everybody else's presentation today. Because a lot of the themes are coming through from every single speaker in this area. So let's dive into a couple of them, and we'll start with getting to know our users at scale. We spend an enormous amount of time as product organizations triaging user feedback, NPS summaries, CSAT scores, things coming out of our customer success service desks. and we're triaging because it is important. And we're spending so much time, and it takes us so much time that it's often outdated. But it's incredibly important. Because if we're trying to build user experiences, we have to understand our users. What are they saying? How are they feeling? What's their sentiment? What are they doing? Why are they doing that? What our users say, what our users do, what they say they do. What's the difference between all three of those? So we need to find a way to do that at scale. The old method was to gather this together with our product operations teams and pull from all of those different data sources. We would look at spending a month going through with what did our customers say last quarter? Here's our service desk tickets. Here's those surveys that are coming in. And we would lose the context. It would be all jumbled together in a washing machine and come out with a theme. Here are the 5 themes that our customers are talking about, but it didn't identify who were onboarding users versus our power users, who are enterprise customers versus commercial customers. We need a way to change that entire process for us of looking at this at scale and with context. And that's where we think things like AI really can play a huge role today. To pull together and summarize for us, to look for themes, to look for categorization, and to do it with context intact. And there's great companies that are doing different versions of this in their own product. And maybe it's not about product feedback. For Sprout Social, it's about how can we actually use AI to create many different versions of this marketing message. But here's what's key. For them, it's the context that matters. What are the post-link clicks or impressions? What's the reach of this? What was most important? Which one actually worked, which didn't? That context is what is important, not the fact that we can generate the 50 different messages to test. So that brings us to how do we leverage AI to drive value? And there's 2 different ways that we think of this as product teams. One is, how can I incorporate AI into my product? Right? What value am I bringing for my customers? What new problems am I able to solve? The second is, how can I use it with myself, with my teams, to be more productive? As we look at that external use case and how we're doing it, there's really 2 different ways with any new technology, and this was the same with mobile, with big data, with IoT, with even the web, right? Which is, hey, I have to understand how this technology works. I'm going to start with the model. I'm going to look at the model and produce really cool insights, and we're going to study that, and we're going to look at technology and data first. And the other way is to start at the end with our customer, falling in love with them, with their pain, with their problems. And you can choose to use one or the other. If I just go on the outside in thinking and just solve that pain, which is what we should be doing as a product team, I may not embrace the new types of pain that we can solve. And I won't leverage the new technologies to solve it. But if I do the opposite direction, if I only focus on the technology first, then I'm most likely not going to solve my customer's pain. It's going to be a nice to have. It was mentioned twice today through the course of these sessions, but that's the danger, because you're going to have developed vitamins. You don't want to be a multivitamin. You don't want to be vitamin C. You want to say that the pain is that pain in the tooth that can't go away. And when I've developed that pain pill for it, they're going to buy it no matter what every single day for it. So we have to ground ourselves not only in the technology, but what is the customer pain that we can solve? And those pains build upon each other. We start to see patterns in them. For the Pendo journey, 3 years ago, as we were starting to invest in AI, we looked at feedback, customer feedback. What are the topics that come through all of that feedback, and how can we leverage that together? Because what we saw were customers were downloading this into Excel to do the work there. So we knew AI could solve that. And when we solved that, we said, where else are people actually downloading for CSVs? That's a really interesting pattern. And we saw that in NPS. And in NPS, teams were downloading all the NPS verbatim responses. They were summarizing that together, creating themes from all of that data, creating summaries. And so we knew that we could lean into that pain and solve that pain. And that led us to a bigger discovery, which is all of this feedback, they're just exhaust. There's so many different sources of this. And so that landed in with the product that launched this month, which is called Listen, which are all of the different ways that our customers are speaking to us. And how do we actually summarize all of that, route it to the correct teams, provide context on it? And that, in solving that, has brought us to the next, which is our customers have so much data and so many insights now. How do we provide recommendations about what they do with it? These are the specific actions you should take for retention or to decrease the amount of time to onboard a new user. So following that pain, falling in love with your customer's pain is more important than ever. And AI is all around us. None of us go to Netflix and say, I wish I could find the little magic wand or the pixie dust to press the button, because that's what we do in B2B SaaS. We put that little button on there. We are so used to this AI and it producing great insights of the next great video to watch, we forget that this is AI-driven. So it's personalized for us. And we need to get to that in our own products. So that when you log into that portal, you just expect the portal to configure itself for what type of user you are. You're a brand new user. You're a user that's coming to distribute allowance to your children, not check Zelle or check your mortgage. Or we're looking at different personas, the same product for different people, solving different outcomes. Or making sure that we're localizing our product in the language that our customers speak. All of these are great use cases of personalization that drive bigger outcomes for us. But it goes beyond just the product, right? We have so many touch points. When we map out that user journey, it is from the first email that we send, from that marketing page that you go through, in-app, into your help center. These are all touch points that need personalization. That's what drives the bigger outcome for us. And companies are being successful at this today. DealerFX makes incredible software for auto dealerships. And one of their core products is actually focused in on auto shops within that auto dealership. And the first version of their AI went through how do they model or predict how many appointments they're going to have on a monthly basis. And when they became successful at that, and they learned from that, they recognized the pain their customer had was, how do I actually change that? What should I do in order to get more appointments? Or McGraw-Hill, an incredible educational technology company. And they provide assessment technology, helping test students on how well they're learning. And the first step was, can we do that better and more efficiently? And they actually gave back for teachers a 20% boost in their own capacity. And they wanted to take advantage of that extra time that teachers have. And so they started recommending, here are personalized learning journeys for every single student. This is the same process. Find a pain, solve it, lead to the next pain. Go from here are forecasts into recommendations. In order to do this, we need to prioritize speed and agility. I've been in this industry for a really, really long time. In fact, the picture that I use up there is when I was in my 30s. I just sort of put it up because I didn't have wrinkles then. It was great. But speed and agility has always been a part of what we do. We need to double down on that. And part of this comes down to how can we bring these innovations to life? Is it about building it? Is it about getting a vendor relationship or acquiring a technology? Is it about partnering? And our job as product is to facilitate that conversation. Our relationship with finance, with engineering, with M&A, with business development. Those are critical to help the entire organization move faster. If you look at what Figma does, and I absolutely adore this, they've leaned into partnership. Over 100 different ISVs contributing their own solutions for AI. That's not first-party Figma, that's partnership. But in the end, Figma's customers, the designers, they are super-powered. So they chose a path of partnership and first-party in order to achieve that. And that's available for you on a daily basis. There are so many tools to experiment with, can I generate a PRD faster? Can I summarize this research better, faster, share it with others? And we need that extra capacity, again, to focus on changing ourselves, but also changing our process. Thomas talked about it in the last session, right? Hey, we got to go to launching faster. We got to get customer feedback. We got to be a little embarrassed. We've got to be willing to stop at 80%. That's going to come from involving our customers throughout that entire process. Don't kick off with your engineering team and say, come back when it's great. Get it in front of your customers early. Start using it internal. Set up your feature flags in order to do that. Because all of that feedback helps tell you, when are we done? When is it good enough? And also time box. It was interesting this morning at the Amsterdam product tank, when we were at breakfast, we were talking about how do you actually go about testing AI? How do you involve your teams? How do you de-risk that test? And we talked about different ways to time box, and one of them was around hackathons. Like, we don't often think of time boxing as a hackathon, but what a great example. You've given teams autonomy and authority and time box them to 48 hours or 1 full week. Go create something. And they have to prioritize the hell out of it. They have to edit it. You know, the famous big examples are like Google AdSense, when Sergey said, I need you to launch in May, not September. Or Amazon Prime, when Jeff Bezos said, I need it in February before the analyst meeting. Those are the big shining examples, but there are so many on your day-to-day basis where time boxing will make a magnificent difference in your business. And lastly, stay curious. Going to things like Mind the Product are one of your superpowers. It really displays your curiosity, your networking, your sharing, your learning. This is how you leapfrog the people around you. Be proud of what you're doing here. Bring more people into this community, because it helps you get better as well. So I leave you today with 3 challenges. First, find a way to really look at your customers at scale. Figure out how to get rid of that triaging. How do we actually summarize this data, provide context to it? And there's tools out there to do it. There's working with your team on it, even using Excel for it. Find ways to do this at scale. 2, start experimenting with AI in your own workflows. Set a goal for yourself or your team. I'm going to try something every 2 weeks. See if it's valuable. More important, what did they do? What were they thinking? Can I apply some of those same thoughts to what we're doing for our customers? And then lastly, choose an initiative and set a time box on it. It can be small, right? We're going to spike on this challenge. It can be large. We're kicking off this big initiative. We're going to cut back the time 2 months. Edit it down in order to get there. Set a time box. It is truly one of your superpowers that you have. Thank you very much.